Firstly, we will take you through the format of the ASU counterclaim spreadsheet and the relevant tabs for costing purposes. The spreadsheet will open up on the counterclaim tab that has the actual rates the ASU is seeking. Note that where the agreement rates are higher than the rates in this spreadsheet, the SACS agreement rates will need to be maintained by community health centres. As you can see, there are a lot of figures. This is because there are a number of different translations depending on the roles and responsibilities of employees and their years of experience. This will differ at each community health centre. Therefore, each community health centre needs to identify what rows are appropriate, taking into account their translations. The reasons why the community health centres have to look at both classification structures is because of the equal remuneration order. It maintains both awards, being the SHADS Modern Award, which is the new award, and then the SACS Classification Award, which is the classification structure that the SACS agreement is based on. The translation process should have been completed firstly by community health centres in 2012 and then maintained since that point onwards, because 2012 was when the ERO came into place. For example, under the agreement, you might have a social worker class 1 at the top year increment who translates to a SACS employee under the Modern Award as a level 4. You would need to go to row 18 for the relevant rates to cost the ASU proposal for this particular employee. The next tab that we have that community health centres can use for costing purposes is the comparisons tab, which is the next tab. The comparison tab shows the increases over the life agreement in dollar terms and percentage terms. Here at column G to S. Column H is describing what the minimum rates increased based on projecting a 2.5% increase in July 2017 and July 2018, what the minimum rates increase will be over the life of the proposed agreement. Then we also have in K, in percentage terms, what the VHIA Model 1 proposed. And then in column O, we have the counterclaim increase in percentage terms. Here, you also have the relevant figures in dollar terms. Then what we get to is the amount of figure that the VHIA proposal is above minimum wages from figures, and then again we've got in percentage terms. So that is how much in percentage terms are the VHIA proposal wage rates above the minimum wage rates, and then the same comparison is done for the ASU counterclaim. In addition to the increases over the life of the agreement, which we've just gone through, it does have sections of the rates and percentage increases in July and December of each year. For example, July, what the minimum rates are. Then we have what the agreement rates are, the original ASU parity claim, what the VHIA Model 1 claim is, and then the percentage increase. And then the most important part to cost under this spreadsheet is the counterclaim for the rates of pay by the ASU. So these are the rates of pay in July 2016, And then you've got the percentage increase here in AC, which is saying from the 1st of December 2015, what are the increases in percentage terms going to be. The same process is repeated when it comes to 1st of December 2016. It shows you the relevant increase that is payable under each proposal, being number 1, projected minimum wage rates, number 2, the VHIA Model 1, and then again, the counterclaim percentage increase. This is repeated all the way to 2018. So this spreadsheet is just an additional way that community health centres may want to look at to cost the ASU proposal. The spreadsheet format is the same for the other occupations. However, they do contain different wage rates. Next is the VHA proposal. The spreadsheets will open up on the counterclaim tab that contains the actual wage rates for the VHA proposal 2. The VHA proposal 2 is the proposal that we explained in depth in the briefing document. The same process for ensuring you reference the correct translations that we showed you in the ASU counterclaim spreadsheets needs to occur for the VHIA proposal as well. For example, under the agreement, you might have a social worker, class 1, at the top of their yearly increment that translates to a SACS level 4 under the Modern Award. Therefore, to ascertain what the wage rates are for the VHA proposal 2, you need to analyse row 19. The next tab that community health centres can view as an alternative to cost the proposal is the comparison tab, which is the third tab that I'm clicking on now. The third tab is in the same format as what the ASU counter proposal was, in that it outlines, firstly, the increases over the life of the agreement. So from column G to column Q. Column H shows what is proposed or projected for the minimum wage rates based on an increase of 2.5% in July 2017 and 2018. Then what we've got is the percentage increase of the original proposal for wages of proposal 1 for VHIA. Then we have the increases for the model 2 for VHIA. Then the next column, O, has the percentage above minimum rates that the VHIA was originally proposing. In column Q, it then compares the VHIA model 2 compared to wage rates. This is the new proposal that we are asking community health centres to cost. Then, again, like the ASU proposal, the percentage increases have been split up in July and December 2016 onwards to December 2018. Again, this is the same format as the ASU spreadsheet, just that what we are doing in this spreadsheet is really only comparing the minimum rate increases to both the VHIA Model 1 increase and the VHIA Model 2 increase. If your community health centre has costed the VHIA Proposal 2 and it is unaffordable, we are asking community health centres to amend the proposal to ascertain what elements they may be able to afford from the VHIA Proposal 2. And this is where I will outline on another tab where we would like you to make some amendments to the proposal if it is unaffordable for your community health centre. And that is the compounding add pay point spreadsheet here. Currently, the July increases are set to 2.5%. If your community health centre can't afford 2.5%, but may be able to afford a lower percentage increase, please change and amend these figures. The first increase for July 2016 will have to be set as 2.4%, but that is because we already know that in 2016, July, the Fair Work Commission increased a minimum award wage increase of 2.4%. At this stage, we are unsure of what the Fair Work Commission will increase wages by in July this year and July 2018, but it is based on 2.5% because the previous increases have been 2.9%, 2.6% and 3%. Therefore, we believe that a reasonable projection may be 2.5%. However, again, this may not be affordable for your community health centre and these are adjustable. So say, for example, you may have a position that you can only afford a 2% increase in July 2017 and then another 2% increase in July 2018. That is the element 1 of the VHIA, which is ascertaining what July increase community health centres may be able to afford if they are happy to promise a set increase in July rather than only flowing on the minimum wage increase, which is an unknown factor in 2017 and 2018. Then what we have is we have element 2 of the proposal. Element 2 of the proposal in the briefing note was the extra additional increments to levels 1 to 5 for employees that have increased experience, which is the addition of the $17.50. You can amend the amount to something that is affordable if the $17.50 is not for your community health centre. Then the other element of number 2 is adding the same amount of money to the pre-modern award so that it interacts with the ERO and evens out some of the increases, which is a claim that the ASU has made as a counter proposal to the VHIA Proposal 1. If it is that your community health centre does not agree to that part of their counterclaim, your community health centre can populate 0, like I just did so. The third element we explained in the briefing note is regarding bringing forward the equal remuneration order by 6 months. This was a part of the original proposal for VHIA Proposal 1, but it is not included in VHIA Proposal 2. It has been included in this tutorial because there may be some community health centres that will still want to model this element instead of element 4. Element 4 is the top-up payments that we will explain next. If your community health centre wants to model the ERO 6 months early, i.e. pay the increase in July instead of December, you will have to amend the cell that says no to yes, like so. Accordingly, the figures will adjust. The last element of the VHIA Proposal 2 is the top-up payment here. Currently, the top-up payment for social workers and the other occupations is a percentage of the $17.50 that some community health centres were supportive of. The idea of the top-up payments is so that it results in employees being paid above minimum wage rates. If your community health centre supports some kind of payment above minimum wages, but the amount of the top-up payments is too expensive, your community health centre can populate what figure that it may want to pay above minimum wages. However, if your community health centre does not want to support over award wages for employees, all employees, and only wants to recognise those that have a higher amount of experience, for this element you can type 0, or alternatively you can still put a payment in, which might be that your community health centre is happy to pay $5 over the award. It's important to note that all of these figures will get indexed over time by the relevant July and ERO increase. So what this does is, by amending these figures here, it will populate and amend the rest of the figures. So when you go to the counterclaim change, the counterclaim figures would have changed. And then if you go to the comparisons, then what we have is that the percentage increases would have changed. Again, it's important to note that if the agreement rates are higher than the rates set out in this proposal, community health centres will need to maintain the SACS agreement rates. Taking you back to the compounding ad pay point sheet, the purpose of getting community health centres to amend the figures and the percentage increases is so that VHIA can try to identify and determine if there is one position that can be supported by community health centres as an industry. It also helps identify if there is any solution to the SACS bargaining. If you'd like a further explanation on the VHIA proposal, or would like to understand more about the equal remuneration order and why the wages are so complex, please contact VHIA. Part 2 of the briefing note outlines the other claims that the ASU is still seeking. There are only 3 claims in the order of priority that the ASU is wanting to progress from the 32 standard claims that they have previously put on a number of community health centres. And the reason being it is so reduced is that they are wanting to pragmatically progress the bargaining. What we've done here is we've identified the claim here in this column. In column 2, we put the VHIA commentary and recommendations on their claims. And then we've also got an area for Community Health Centre response, which is, do you agree to our recommendations, yes or no? Or if no, is there any element of the claim that you can agree to? Or, any other suggestions would be great. In relation to anything to highlight, we have had a number of questions on the long service leave claim, which is here. Long service leave has been a long-standing issue for community health centres for a number of years, and it previously was sorted, but it has reared its head again as a result of the introduction of the Fair Work Act 2009. If there is anything that you would like to talk further to VHIA about regarding the briefing note or the relevant wage rates in the spreadsheets, please contact Emma Scott on 9861 4017 or email escott@vhia.com.au.